Hello, are you thinking about renovating? We've got a couple of short stories to show you from residents who live in Sydney's inner west who've undertaken sustainable renovations on their homes. Before you renovate, you might want to think about how you use the house and what sort of sustainable features you might like to include. The best thing to do is arm yourself with as much information as possible, and there's plenty out there. There's lots on the internet, or you can call your local council and see what sort of workshops or tours they might run. There's also Sustainable House Day on every September. We hope you enjoy the videos and get some good ideas for what you can do in your home.
When we bought our Federation house, it had the classic lovely 4 front rooms and then the rabbit warren of crappy little rooms and dodgy DIY extensions. And so what we ended up doing was we went down the owner-builder route. We only extended the house by, say, 2 to 4 metres, but in the process we demolished half the house and then we built it back out in an eco extension that we find delightful to live in. For us, we decided to do an eco extension because it was really the only way we could get what we wanted. What we didn't want to do is to go down the process of tendering out for a builder who just builds it and then says, here's the keys. And so we really wanted involvement in the process, and we wanted to be able to shape it to our needs, but also to save the environment. And so going down the owner-builder route, and I'd never had any DIY experience at all. I couldn't hang a picture before I started. But taking 6 months off work and going through the process was delightful and actually rather easy. And then we got a house that we just love living in and are going to live in for many decades yet, we hope. The benefits for us for building is a few things. So first off, you can get something like this. So this is our 12 tonnes of rammed earth wall, which is thermal mass within our house, which we thought was the crazy eco feature, but turned out to be actually rather straightforward to build. Took 3 days and voila, looks great. But also things like the kitchen where we could say, look, we want a house that is low in VOX. So, you know, less volatile organic compounds. And so we built the kitchen out of plywood. And it looks great, it'll last forever. And so it gives us immediate benefit in terms of the house, but it's also about saying that it is massively easier to do eco features when you build that then save us heating costs, that save us electricity costs for decades and decades, and will pay itself back super easily. So one of the things we did, it's one of the small things, but I think one of the most delightful, is our cool cupboard, which is an idea I got from Michael Mobbs. And it's about saying it's a cupboard with wire baskets that has a vent in the floor into the cool underfloor area. It has a little chimney that goes through the roof, a little baby thing, but it's next to the fridge. And the fridge also has a vent in the floor, and then it has a vent at the top of the back area of the fridge. Now fridges are hot. They're cold inside, they're hot outside. And the heat rises, it goes up through the chimney, it draws air from underneath the cupboard, meaning that we measured the temperature in the cool cupboard at 12 degrees on a day when it was 23 outside. But then the fridge runs 30% more efficiently. And so that's a win-win for something that has no moving parts and just required a little bit of foresight. And it's where we keep our potatoes, our eggs, everything.
We hope you enjoyed hearing James's story. Whilst James took the owner-builder path, we'll now meet Jenny and Alan, who took a slightly different approach with some great sustainable outcomes.
We did a renovation about 6 years ago where we installed 1.89 kilowatts of photovoltaics, which generates roughly the same amount as we use annually. We installed evacuated tube water heater with instantaneous gas booster, which means we get very cheap hot water, so we use very little gas. We've got 6,000 litres of water tanks, which are connected to both toilets and the washing machine, and also for the garden, of course.
So we've got low flow shower heads and on most of the taps, so our water bill is pretty low.
The house is very well insulated, as well as the bats in the walls. We have like a styrofoam planks about that thick, which cover all the bats and are under the Eco-Ply cladding. All the windows in the renovation are all double glazed, including the skylights, and that makes a huge difference in having a stable temperature, and also when the flight path comes over, it makes a very big difference too. We tend to just close off the living area. We installed a door at the bottom of the stairs to the upstairs. One heater, cuts out all the time. It hardly runs once we get the room warm.
Yeah, so we've put up shade sails and awnings that come out in summer to keep the sun out. So window there facing due north, but shades there all summer. And in winter we take it down and it lets the northern sun in, which is beautiful. We've got the same upstairs and the same on the western window in the dining room. So we just shut them down when it's sunny. That makes a big difference. Same with the trees. We've got a lot of deciduous trees and we prune them right down in winter to let the sun in as well. We compost. We grow some of our own food. We make our own cheeses and yogurt and beer, so that reduces packaging. So whenever we buy new appliances, we always buy the most energy efficient one, which isn't necessarily the cheapest one when you buy it, but it saves on electricity. And our lights, we've got a lot of LED lighting, which are very efficient to run. So that keeps our fuel bill right down, so that we're able to just use what we can produce. Yeah, it's comfortable without air conditioning. We don't need it. I don't even have a dryer. So we bothered because we care about the environment. It wasn't that difficult to do. You do a little bit of research. We did a great course. We looked at the orientation of the house and, the shades came up and that. And it's really very comfortable to live in and very economical. It's quite a luxurious house. We even have a spa, a very little one. It doesn't use a lot of water.
Yep.
So would I recommend it? Yeah. It's not that hard.
Isn't Jenny and Alan's house great? But you might be thinking a sustainable renovation is more expensive. And yes, there are some initial upfront costs. But during the design phase, if you think about heating and cooling, lighting, ventilation and thermal comfort, you'll recoup those costs over time by reduced bills. Jenny, Alan and James absolutely love their homes, and by being involved right from the design phase, they've not only got a home that meets their needs, but also matches their values. So if you're thinking about renovating, get inspired so you can love your sustainable home too.